What is up, my beautiful D.D.D fam? It's your boy Brendan, aka Drip, back with another video and locals tournament video. And today we got my teammate, my best friend, my brother, Jeremy. His hero deck, his crazy lottery mortgage loan dot deck, his max rarity hero deck. I haven't we haven't profiled heroes on here in a long time, mainly because can't really line up schedules between me and him, so I can't really get the deck off of him, and he's a little bit camera shy. So, but he wanted me to take his deck, basically modernize it a little bit, I guess, and see how it would fare with meta decks and stuff that's at our locals. So, do keep in mind going in, this is kind of locals based, and I will talk about what I would change if I were to take this with a bigger event and preparing for other decks. So don't be going to the chat and talk about like, well, that wouldn't work against Cash or that wouldn't work against Purely. Obviously, this is locals based when it comes to the non-engine, but I will reference what I would probably cut out for if I was to take this to a higher level event. I haven't played Heroes in a long time, so it was kind of cool to play them again. Um, I quit playing them there for a while because it kind of got really streamlined, and it also died to the same things. But I actually lost in the finals due to my own hypocritical statement that I normally tell you guys. I always tell you to know your opponent's deck better than you know yourself, and I didn't. I forgot what double cross's secondary effect was, and I used mass change too early, and it cost me the game. But that's my own stupidity. But other than that, I probably would have finished first. But this deck is really good. He basically had, for the most part, the core put together. I just moved a couple things in and out. And there are a handful of things I would change moving forward with the actual core, not just the non-engine. But I will talk about more when we get there. Also, I want to reference real quick. I am not by any means a like hero master, so forgive me if I stumble along the lines, referencing what other hero cards I would probably play in regards and instead of other ones. So please don't roast me and don't cook me too hard, okay? Start out. We're running two Stratos. I think two's better than three. I get why you would want to run three, and no, he is not running three because he doesn't have a third Starlight. Yes, he has a third Starlight. He just chooses to run two, which I agree with that. Because him and I kind of have the same playstyles. Stratos is very good at what he does, but and this is going to trigger a lot of people, but Stratos is only good early game. Mid to late game, Vion is 5 times, 10,000 times better. Being able to send anything you need to the graveyard, like Shadow Mist or uh, any of your other heroes, like your Destiny heroes or stuff like that. So 2 is really good. Because you don't want to see him mid to late game because he doesn't do nothing for you. You're not running Honest Neos or anything like that to really get in your hand mid to late game. So there's no real reason to play 3 of this in this build. Um, so yeah, two's good. Two Shadow Mist. Speaking of the devil, two's really good. You have to run two. There's no way around it because you need one for early game and you need one for recursion and mid to late game. The cold harsh truth that some of you hero players still have hard troubles coming to understanding with or ability to admit it is the fact that your deck has is terrible when it comes to trying to set itself up for the follow-up because the deck does so good at playing through interruptions and pouring out a humongous board, but you have no real true follow-up on the crackback unless, for an example, you opened busted and you are able to search like a Vion or something to hold in your hand for follow-up. Other than that, the deck doesn't do all too well with setting itself up for follow-up. But the second Shadow Mist obviously helps with that. Moving on with the rest of the heroes, one Liquid and one Honest Neos. I mean, not one Honest Neos, regular Neos. I've been telling my buddy Jeremy for years now that I really want to run a second liquid because you remember back in the old days when hero players used to run like 3 solid soldier or 2 solid soldier. I feel like liquid is the indirectly the new solid soldier, if that makes sense. Before, like, you needed solid soldier to get your engine rolling back in the old days, like 4 or 5 years ago. Uh, Maybe longer than that because the Vision Hero package came out in 2018. So before the Vision Hero package, um, like you run Solid Soldier, and I really think Liquid Soldier is like your main key for follow up. There's sometimes when I play this deck, because one thing if I will say, if you don't know me and you don't know my playstyle, I like playing mid range when it comes to anything. Even if a deck goes above and beyond, I still like to play mid range. Definitely with heroes because they, like I said, don't really set themselves up for follow up. So I want to try to force that, make a mid range board for them to deal with, and then force them to out it. And then I kill them next turn with all my follow up. And I really think Liquid Soldier is very good at providing that. Then we run the Neos because in this build we are running the Shining Neos Wingman, and it's just too good to not run. It is kind of frustrating though because this is like in my opinion, like the 40th card. I didn't want to take this deck above 40. Jeremy likes to run it at 41, and every now and then he'll go up to like 44. He likes to bounce around between 41 and 44, so he doesn't draw the one ofs as much because him and I both have the bad tendency of drawing the one ofs. But I wanted to keep it at 40 for to maximize the consistency. So I cut it down to 40 for my list, which is what this basically is, but it's basically his list too, minus 1 card. That's it for the E heroes. I'm breaking this deck up in versions of heroes. That was the E heroes. Moving on to the Vision heroes. It's gonna be very standard. Three Ferris, 2. There's no fucking argument. I don't give a shit. There's no argument on running 1. If you run 1, then have fun just not being able to play Yu-Gi-Oh! And then complaining about how like heroes need more support and shit like that. That's not the truth at all. A lot of people don't understand how much this deck flows through the Vision heroes. Yes, I get it. The deck can do a lot, and it can do a lot with like needing these, but the main big combos and being able to play through a lot of interruptions while plussing hard as heck is flowed through the Vision heroes. So if you run 1 and your Vision hero lineup is dead because you draw the Garnet, then you just lose because it's gonna be harder for you to play through all the interruptions. 2 Vion because my outlook on it is kind of like sort of the same as Shadow Mist. This is better than Stratos, my personal opinion. Stratos is very good turn 1, and after turn 1, he just passes the torch to Vion, and Vion carries the rest. Um, but Vion's very good. It gets you your poly. It gets you sends anything you need to the graveyard. I mean, most of 99% of you all watching this are probably hero players. I don't need to tell you guys that Vion's good. On to the D heroes. Mali, Denier, and Plasma, and Dark Angel. A lot of people have their own ways of like playing when it comes to playing heroes. When I play it, if I'm playing this version, 99% of the time, I am going for Dark Angel Lock. That's all I want to do. I'm like shark in the water, like when like blood in the water or something. That when I see red, that's what I'm pushing for. I'm pushing for the Dark Angel Lock 99% of the time when I'm playing this build. If I can't get to it because I didn't draw Fusion Destiny or I didn't find a way to be able to recycle my poly and get D heroes on board to hard make DPE, then I won't go this route. I'll go Plasma. But 99% of the time, I'm pushing with almost everything I can for the Dark Angel lock because it's just too good. Yesterday at locals, I Dark Angel locked a guy in round 3, game 1, and it felt sacky, somewhat like it felt like a great value version of what Nats was when that guy used Eradicator because I Dark Angeled him and he couldn't out it, and he had 5 spells in hand, 5 spells and a monster. He drew a monster for turn. For the non-engine, 3 Ash, 3 Drow, and 2 Bell. I run a couple of spells that are non-engine. This is my lineup. Yes, if I were to take this to the event, these hand traps would be different. Obviously, if you already couldn't tell, there's nothing in here hand trap wise that says no to Kashjira. Uh, if I were to take this to an event, I would either trim these down and another card, or run 41 and run three books, and then still keep the Drolls, because I really think Droll is very underrated still, even with Super Heavy being nerfed. There are so many decks that play into Droll hard that it's insane, that can and it can slow them down. So it's like one of those things where like people are like, oh, Super Heavy's not in the format, Droll's not that good anymore, or it's still good but it's not as high impact. No, dude, Droll is still super high impact, and like there's no arguing with that in my personal opinion. But I play the Bells because Bell hits a lot more than people like think this format. But I also mainly had it in there for lab. I wanted to have a lot of lab coverage. Granted, this deck can, for the most part, push through a lot of back row if you play the cards right and you open somewhat optimal. But I still wanted to have answers to it. They just completely say no. Um, but yeah, if I was getting ready for because like purely you don't really have to worry about their tower that much because you can get a bigger monster. It's not that hard for this deck to get a bigger monster. But Kashira, you need to have an answer for their Fenrir and their Rise Heart. So I'll probably swap the Bells maybe, and want to and just add a 41st card and run 41 to make it a 41 card list if I were to take it to an event. Moving on to the spells. That's it for the monsters and everything else. Three beautiful ulti Hero Lives. Hero Lives is really nasty. Not a once per turn clause or anything in there, so it just feels good. This is basically three more copies of your Stratos. Is another reason why we run two. So you don't really want to clog on them. This gets you to him. There was a situation where I was playing against Lab, and I baited all of his traps. He had two traps. He uh he did something, and I normal summoned Stratos. I can't remember what I did. I did Vision Hero combo, and then I normal summoned Stratos, and then popped his back row, and he did something and cleared my board, and I just Hero Lives and brought out my second copy of Stratos to get back into my plays and just kept going. It was really nasty. And then moving on, three beautiful ulti Fusion Destinies. Fusion Destiny, Fusion Destiny. You want to see this card in your hand at all times. There's nothing that really needs to be said about that. Two Mass Change. This is where him and I kind of had a different like outlook on things. He's been running one and has been liking one. I like two because I kind of want to see this more to be able to dodge imperm and targeting effects like Cashier stuff and all that shenanigans. Um, but I do understand why you run one. Moving forward, I might actually consider dropping this to one and then adding in a second talents, because we are running talents as another non-engine. Because this deck, for the most part, unless they actually know heroes, as long as they don't imperm the Vion early on, um, you can basically play through everything else imperm related. It's Ash and stuff like that, and like Droll and stuff that really kills this deck, or Nib or something like that, mainly Droll. But if they hit you with that and you have a talents in hand, you can force them to like somewhat regret it by ripping one, or if they only asked you, then you draw two and you just keep going. Because this deck doesn't need a lot to keep going. It just needs names basically. Power one ofs, beautiful ultimate Miracle Fusion, Polly, Collector's Rare Rhoda, Lost Art Foolish, Talents. These are the power one ofs. I see a lot of people still running e-call. I don't disagree with that. I understand, and I still think e-call is very good. Definitely getting you anything you need. Um, but that's all. That's it for the spells. Talents was freaking disgusting, dude. One time, I think it was round two. Round two, if you're watching this, Andrew, shout outs, big dog. My buddy Andrew was playing Sword Soul Kastura, and he ended on Baron, Shishel. He didn't draw any Kastura cards. He just went Sword Soul combo. He went Baron, Shishel, and Sword Soul. I mean, not Sword Soul, but the freaking Tingy level 8 synchro that's basically negate and banish, but also it can attack over something, gain attack, and attack again. I drew this in Pankratops that I have in the side deck, and I special Pank, baited out, forced out the Baron, used talent, steal his Tinny, tacked over the She Shell, got the tag buff and attacked over his Baron, cleared his entire board with just this with talents and freaking Pankratops. It was absolutely disgusting. Last card in the deck for the 40th card is Favorite Contact. This card is absolutely disgusting. Definitely helping you play through cards like Dark Ruler and crap like that, and even nib if they nib you too late. Because a lot of people who don't know heroes will hold their nib until the end, until they try to clear end phase, because they're like, oh, I want to let them burn all their resources because they know that heroes don't do very well at providing follow up with the current support. So they'll wait too long, and once you have access to Favorite Contact and potentially DPE, that's usually all you need to clean them up. That's it for the main deck. 40 cards, clean 40. There's nothing I would really change. If I were to add anything besides like maybe the Book of Moons have already taken an event, I really want to Jeremy and I were talking about Blazeman because of Shifter and stuff like that, to be able to get access to Poly, and I really do agree with that. And not only that too, because like I said too, if they know heroes, they'll hit Vion, and then if you can't get access to your Poly, you just lose. So I wouldn't run a second Poly. I would run a second whatchamacallit in the extra deck, Wonder Driver. I would run a second Poly personally, but which I'll get to that in a second. But yeah, the only other thing I'll probably change about the main deck is running Blazeman, just to have another way to get the Poly, and basically a free special from deck, basically. So moving on to the extra. 2 cross, that's been standard for years now. You need 1 if they negate it, and then 1 for the follow up, or you can just link into another one before you even activate it. So it's just 2 free. 1 Infernal because we run the Neos. Infernal is really nasty. It just feels too free. It's kind of unfair for a fusion based strategy. I really want to run a sec. If I were to play this more often and I wasn't immediately giving this deck back to him, I would 10,000%. It's not even an argument. It's not. It's not an argument. It's really not. For a second Wonder Driver. I am currently on 2 Dark Law, and that is going to change. The second Dark Law is going to become a second Wonder Driver. This card is too freaking crucial to be able to just to still be a one-of. The fact that this deck dumps out all of its resources into the grave and on the board, basically tells you that there's not much like resources left in the deck that you need to go get, because it gets you all the access to everything you need, basically from field, hand, or graveyard that you can mess with. So there's not really else you need to go grab from deck. What that tells me that you need to be able to use the stuff from field and graveyard to be able to bring out your stuff in your extra deck, which means basically your Miracle Fusion and your Poly, aka field and grave. So if the deck's dumping stuff from the deck to the field to the grave, you need to be able to utilize Wonder Driver to reset your Poly to be able to use the field, or you reset your Miracle Fusion to be able to use your grave. So it's not even a discussion. This card is your follow up. So this takes a lot of the pressure off of the actual deck itself at being able to not provide itself follow up. So yeah, second Wonder Driver is not even an argument. I mean, it's not even a discussion. It has to happen. It has to be a second one of. E-Heroes, these four put in work. Sunrise is just disgusting. Sometimes I find myself needing 2, but this is indirectly a second copy, if that makes sense. This being able to tag out because you make this with a combo. Abzo is he's the OG. He's legit the OG of the extra deck. And then this guy is just absolutely gross. He gets monstrous. He gets huge. Can't be destroyed by card effects and can't be bounced back if you make him with the favorite contact. And basically popping cards. It just feels too free because like you just hold the favorite contact and then you just use the contact at the most crucial time. Like yesterday, I was playing against Cash, and I let him special Fenrir. I didn't use nothing. Special Fenrir, activated Birth, normal Unicorn. He had 2 left in hand or 3 left in hand, and I just used favorite contact on the summon of Unicorn, summoned this, and then popped all 3 because there was 3 different attributes on the field, and then it was just GG because he just scooped from there. This card is just absolutely nasty. It steals games. Nothing needs to be said. Moving on to the generic OTK boy or special summon one from deck if it's destroyed by card effect or whatever, yada yada yada. This card's really nasty at just being able to kill. DPE, the boy, this is for the Destiny Hero lineup. I still like Dystopia. I know a lot of people don't like him anymore, but I'm tired of losing in time, and I don't know. I just want another target, really. So, like, and not only that, like I said, I'm just tired of losing in time. So, why not? Dangerous is really good for the Dark Law combo, which ironically I just learned not even like 48 hours ago. But I mainly use him to actually buff my Destiny heroes to be able to attack over big stuff if I can't get to full combo because I got hand trapped to death. So there's several situations where I used him to be able to buff himself and DP to be able to just clear big boards. Masked hero lineup is going to be funky. 2 and 1. I know it's weird because I have 3 fusions, but only 2 mass change. It's just another reason why another Wonder Driver is needed. On top of that, like I said, I would drop this and then run a second Wonder Driver, and then you have 2 targets for 2 spells, and yeah. I never found myself making the second Dark Law. With the kind of meta that's at my locals or whatever, I barely even made the 1. But I still think, obviously, it's Dark Law. It's mandatory. It's just mandatory. Too many decks lose to Macrocosmos. And then the ad effect in Discord was kind of clutch a couple of times last night. People forget about that Dark Law effect. This is a tournament deck, so I will show the side. 3 Rivalry, because Rivalry is Rivalry, and when you Dark Angel lock them, this makes it even more funny and big memes. 3 Evenly, people sleep on Evenly, but Evenly is just absolutely disgusting. Definitely paired with Dark Ruler and stuff like that. Speaking of the devil, 3 Dark Ruler, 2 Cosmic, 1 Duster, 1 Thrust. I don't know if you see it in frame or not. This is it for the spells. Every single one of these, I sighted in. I saw all of them, I think, besides Duster. Maybe. Yeah, I can't remember. Cosmic was disgusting. In the finals, I drew double Cosmic, and I used both of them in the same turn against Runic. Both their fountains. Feels good. 1 pink, and then the 3rd bill for Lab or Runic. That's basically it for the side deck and the extra deck and the main deck. 40 main, 15 side, 15 extra. Like I said, other than the mentions that I mentioned, I would change. The Wonder Driver and the Blaze Man are the only things I would change, and the Book of Moons if I were to take it to event. Other than that, I love every single card in this deck. I actually really enjoy this deck. Jeremy's actually like low key made Heroes grow on me because I ain't gonna lie, I haven't played Heroes since they were bad, and I'm sorry to say that, but they're actually pretty solid now in a really good spot. Um, and just Dark Laws Bay. So, other than that, please hit the like button if you haven't already. Check the description for all the links and ways to support me. Stay tuned for upcoming content. And if you want to see me play this deck more and play Heroes more, then let me know in the comment section or the Discord. Let me know in the Discord. I like listening to you guys, talking to you guys. Obviously, this is a discussion video, not just a deck profile. That's why the videos are usually longer. So just let me know what you want to see me kind of play. If I have access to the cards, I will play it. And I love you guys so much. It's your boy Brennan, a.k.a. Drip from Team D.D.D. Sign out till next time. Peace. Good dueling, my guys.